This here is a Durston X-Mid Pro 2 Plus tent, and after 8 years with the Ultamid from HMG, we are thinking about switching over to this. So we're gonna try it out. We're gonna set it up for the very first time today. I've only seen the setup video. I have not actually set this up. So we'll see how easy it is to set up, because they say it's very simple and all it takes is 4 stakes and then you're up and running. Now this weighs 19.2 ounces, so it's very lightweight. You do need trekking poles to go along with it, so you can factor that in. But size-wise, fitting into your backpack, the Ultamid is basically 2 of these, because you have 1 of these, which is the outside, and then 1 that is the insert if you are using the bug netting. So right away, you're already cutting weight down on this and size in your pack. One of the criticisms I've seen online is that this is a pretty large footprint, but we're already used to that with the Ultamid. So I'm assuming this isn't going to be that much different than that. But there are ways to do, I think they call it a skinny pitch, where you fold in the vestibules so it doesn't take up as much space. So let's go ahead and set this up, see how easy it is, and we'll look at how much room there is on the inside. Okay, so initial pitch, super quick. This is not flat ground at all. So I wasn't expecting a perfect pitch right out of the gate, but overall it is really nice. And come on in. You have a lot of attachment points here for guy lines, so you can really tighten this down for stormy situations. But let's just take a peek, because I don't know what the inside looks like. One of the nice features with these tents is they add magnetic clips to hold the doors in place. And it looks like there's 2 actually, which is really nice. There we go. So since this is the 2 Plus model, it is over 50 inches in width. I believe it's 52 inches, so you can get 2 normal size sleeping pads in here. We have a 2-person sleeping pad that we'll use, so there will be lots of room in here. And then you've got the vestibule space on the outside as well. And just initial sitting, you can sit upright in here fully as well. Seems like there's decent space in here for 2 people. If you're 1 person, then it's like a castle. 2 people, at least us small people, there should be plenty of room in here. Not a bad tent. Not bad at all. I do love that the bug netting is connected directly into the Dyneema. This is Dyneema bottom as well. So everything is one singular unit, and it all folds up together. It all comes together, goes up together. You don't have to maneuver and put poles in weird spots, because the poles aren't in the way at all to get in and out of here. And you just need 1 pole on each side. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm pretty impressed with the layout so far. All right, so this is what it looks like with the sleeping pad in. Go ahead and pull it a little more center, Sarah. So for our sleeping setup, there is still a ton of leftover space. Now, if you and someone else had 2 full sleeping pads in here, you're not gonna have that much extra space. Now for us, we usually like to keep our bags inside with us. So sliding this all the way over, there's still room inside for sleeping bags. And there's some room at the top and the bottom for that as well, because as someone said, we're little hobbits asking for a lot of space on our last video. Now, some people like to use the vestibules. There's tons of space on the vestibules for that. I'm just not a big fan, because we have a lot of mice that try to get into stuff at night. And I hear them when they're trying to scratch at the tent, trying to get inside, and then I'll wake up and I'll scare them off. Whereas if our stuff is outside in the vestibule, I'm less likely to wake up, and we'll end up with a hole in our bags.
Please note that we also use bear bags, so don't leave comments being like, oh my gosh, you're leaving food or something scented in your tent. L&T, we know all those.
Yeah, our mice just will try and get into anything.
Mice are aggressive in Washington.
Another thing I thought was cool is there's all these vents too. So there's pretty good adequate airflow, and then having the double vestibule open as well. And there's vents on both sides. So there's pretty good airflow. And this is not a very good pitch by me, and that's because it's not a very flat surface. But it looks like you can tension the bathtub so that you actually have a bathtub and you don't have a side that's flat like we currently have.
Okay, so I'm the weirdo that just likes to sit in a tent and kind of analyze what's new on products. And one thing I've already noted that I actually don't like about this tent setup is the use of corners. So a lot of people probably aren't going to think about this, but when you have a corner zipper, even though he added a layer of protection right here with the tent, as soon as you pull this down, no matter what, you're going to be fighting this rounded ring, trying to get this part all sealed up. So I know it might not seem like a huge deal to a lot of people, but there are bugs that can get in really small spaces like this. So if your whole point of your tent is sealing it off to not have bugs, you might have some issues with this corner setup with the zipper. So I do like the space like up above us. Obviously we're small people, so we're getting a little bit more out of it than the average person, but there's definitely, it's roomy enough. Like you're not going to be uncomfortable in here with 2 people on a rainy day where you're just stuck in your tent.
Yeah, we just exploded in here with all of our crap. And there's still actually quite a bit of room, even with our stuff at the feet of our sleeping pad. So I don't feel like our faces would be smashed up against the bug netting like we had in our Ultamid when we were sleeping on a single pad like this. The bathtub I feel like could be a little taller. We live in a super wet, rainy place, so I don't know how many inches this is, but we're used to water finding a way.
Getting a good 3-4 inches with it.
Yeah.
There's a sticker right there too.
Oh yeah. So 4-inch bathtub or so.
Yeah.
But we usually have water that finds a way into tents even with 8-inch bathtubs. So that is one slight downside. I like these little pockets to store stuff. Sarah said that it's a perfect spot for bugs to hang out.
Well, the bugs will hang out more in the outside pockets that I was seeing.
Oh, those aren't pockets, those are vents.
Oh, that's where the vents.
That's a vent, yeah. Oh, there's a bug. But not bad overall. So if you're curious how hot this gets in the sun, we have both vestibules opened. And right now, it is 115 degrees in the tent. So, just a little warm. In the shade, it said it's 79 degrees. Okay, first night in the Durston. We discovered why being pitched on a flat ground is important, because we're sloped and Sarah's just straight down the slope. But it's actually hard to find a lot of flat surfaces here in Washington, perfectly flat, so it's something that we will just have to figure out. But same problem with pretty much any tent on that, so that's not a Durston issue. That's just a campsite issue. I really like the double vestibule because of the amount of airflow that you get going through here. There's zero condensation, and it cooled way down. It was up to 120 in here at one point, and then last night just felt fantastic.
Even when the shade came in too, I mean, we noticed a dramatic temp difference in here. It went down probably 20 degrees in like a half hour once the shade started coming in. Like It did really well.
Yep, and that's part of the ventilation again, just helping out there. I also, on the zippers, I can open the bottom zipper with one hand and close it with one hand, but I can't do that with the top zipper. So I wish both zippers were easy to zip up and down like that. But that's just a little tiny nuance.
We love the open air space. So like there's more space on both sides of the tent when you sleep opposite.
Yes, so we did figure that out because our sleeping pad is a 2-person pad and it tapers. And when we both were sleeping on it this way, Sarah's face was right up into the tent right here. And then what I remembered seeing is when you have 2 people in here, you want to sleep feet to head, so opposite. One person's head over here where there's more space, other person's head over there where there's more space. So once we flipped, then there was way more room and Sarah wasn't breathing in tent siding.
That's way better than the mid. That's like one of my biggest complaints with the mid too, is that I'm always up against the wall no matter what, because it's a pyramid. So you're always gonna have a wall you're against.
And that's kind of the way we sleep too. Because with the mid, we have a tent pole right in the middle, and then we both sleep on one side, whereas it's designed to have one person on each side of the pole. We like to have both of us on one side, and then all the other side is room for all your crap. But overall, first night in this tent, I'm actually pretty impressed with this tent. I really like the design, and once we get a better pitch, then I'm even more excited to see what it's like on the inside here. And we had a little tiny bit of wind last night, but nothing crazy, nothing that we would need to set up guy lines and everything. Oh, the other thing that I'm probably gonna have to change is all the cords on the corners is really short, which is definitely for making it lightweight. But there's a lot of situations around here where we can't use tent stakes and we have to wrap the cord around rocks. And the cord is not long enough for that. So I'm gonna have to swap those out with a longer cord so that we can do that. And if I forget, then we're gonna be in trouble on some of our trips for sure. But overall, very impressed with the Durston. Right now I'm recommending it, and I'm excited to use it all summer long and really figure out what we like and don't like about it. So once popping out here, we can definitely see the slope angle is pretty extreme on that side. But I mean, to be honest, setting it up for the first time, we didn't really know where the sleeping section was actually gonna be in the tent. And I knew it was at somewhat of an angle, but now we have a much better idea. So when we are setting up the tent, we should know, okay, we need this part to be on the flatter section of wherever we're setting the tent up. So that's good to know, good for the future. If you set this up at home before you go out, you might be able to figure that out beforehand, but I wanted the raw experience in the wild of how this works. And you see, sometimes you make some mistakes. But overall, it's a pretty good tent. I'm excited to test it out and hopefully start putting it to its limits. I also want to test this in the winter with a snow load, but we have 6 months before that can happen. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one.